300,000% investment. Now, we hear about sensationalized lines with stock markets, with Bitcoins, but we never hear it for good old-fashioned property. We've got some impressive numbers for you today on property. Stay tuned. And no one more appropriate than the economist, Josh Wapshott, the real estate agent extraordinaire with an unusual grasp on numbers, an incredible grasp on numbers.
Good teachers. That's what I put it to, Mark.
How are you, bud?
Good morning. Yeah, good. Very exciting topic this morning. Something that, I love expressing. I probably find myself talking to the odd friend, family member, and someone else in something completely different segment of property, and it ends up being discussion we have for 30, 45 minutes. So looking forward to bringing this up this morning. And who doesn't like a good 300% return in 12 months?
Well, that's right. But it sounds too good to be true. But then we're going to give you two people this morning in the last 12 months out of many people that we know that bought similar properties on the Northern Beaches. And we're going to run through some numbers and show you the sort of what they did, how they did, thought patterns, strategy, strength, insurance, assurance in making investments like that and making sure they come good. So we're going to give you some good nuggets.
Definitely. I thought we'd start off with our storage units. One of the guys in the office here was I think there was a few in the office that ended up purchasing very early up at that 7 Rodborough project up at French Forest. I'm sure you guys would have heard of this before, but we're just going over with the staff as a whole team yesterday, and we're just going through those figures, and it hits home very hard when you see these deals where you purchased a storage unit for $198 with a 10% deposit. That's your $20,000, and now as we come to completion, we're now selling the remaining stock exact same height and size for $242 plus GST. So you're talking 50, 60 grand. You're talking 300% on the capital you put down, and you're talking about a 25, 30% in growth on the asset alone. And I think the real nugget is there, Mark. You've only paid the 10% deposit. You haven't paid the mortgage. You haven't felt the pain. But you're experiencing all the pleasures of the growth on the property market.
Yeah, and we sat down with the whole team, and only then did it really crystallize. It probably sounds silly, but only then did it really crystallize with us. So we have a team meeting once a month where there's like 50 people sitting in the office, and we talk about the highs and the lows for the month, and we're planning the year ahead, and then we're talking about these investments, and as an example, they put in a 10% deposit. I think the early birds were 189, or they were 198 with a 10,000 meter squared mezz. Either or, they put down about $19,800 as deposits for these concrete boxes, these storage rooms. You can put 2 cars in there. They're great size. And we rent them. You can rent them for storage. They're a good investment. A lot of people bought in their super. But the concept of putting down $19,800, and then now you, Josh, has been doing sales at $242,000. It's now crystallized those purchases that people made at 189, 198. It's crystallized them. And they have clearly made, 40 odd, 50 odd grand. So they've put in 19,800 and they've gone up. So by the time it actually settles, it may even be worth more again. But I was saying to Josh this morning, that's a 20% return. And he's like, yeah, that's a 20% return. And I said, hang on a sec. It's a 20% return on the purchase, but on the money that the people have put in, it's actually a 200, 300% return on the money that they've put in 12 months in property, not, Bitcoin or stocks or stuff that's, it's a solid investment.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's very hard. Obviously, my background is a bit in is stockbroking before I made it to real estate. So I definitely have an understanding of the volatility. You can make money very quick and you can lose it very quick. And I think that was probably the biggest thing that drew me into property and real estate, and really created that passion, was because you can experience, with the right buying, you can experience that growth, but you also have the stability of the property market along with it, where you might not. You're most likely going to have years that are going to be your worst years, where you experience no growth. Not that you go backwards 100%, 200%, like I've seen in a couple of stocks that I've been involved in. So I think that's the real big thing. I mean, it's one thing hearing it, and then the other thing experiencing it. And
It
I think
happened
that
under your nose. It happened under your nose.
Yeah, exactly right. So I think it's almost that double-edged sword. And I think another thing that we'd also couple in with that, Mark, as a little sweetener on top of these, if these are properties that you look to keep and lease out, well, off the plan as well, we've also managed to sign up a few leases up there before they've even settled. So not only have they made the return on their investment, made the return on the capital they've put down, but they've also got a leased out asset with no vacancy or holding costs. So, I mean, does that not scream banging investment? I mean, it does to me.
It's a cracker. And what I also should mention is what off the plan getting in early is a great message, but I think the right type of infrastructure around you. So Northern Beaches is very low with stock, and stock is the enemy of capital growth. Sorry, capital growth. Stock is the enemy of capital growth, correct? So it's a low stock area. Two, the biggest Bunnings in Australia is being built across the road. Three, the biggest one of the biggest hospital infrastructure investments of $4 billion over 5 years is 500 meters down the road. Four, there's the first school built from ground up in 50 years is also across the road 30 meters away. So there's some really good positive infrastructure around the asset. It's a low stock area around the asset that's contributed. And then when we were talking with the team yesterday, a lot of the people in the office, there's plenty of buyers that bought early, but a lot of the people in the office already had the deposit there in their super. So it was very, very easy for them just to push across 19,800 out of their super and into this investment. So yeah, a couple of clever angles on this that I liked.
Yeah, definitely. And we did experience in the storage units around that 200 or 198 mark, 189 mark, and warehouses have experienced that same growth as well. I know we've had early on in the project, we had purchases around that circa 900, 950 mark, where the same warehouse is now selling closer to 1.2, 1.25. And again, with leases signed up in the background with really, really, generally what you see in a big development, these are great rates that they're achieving. I mean, one of the ones I've signed up there as a lease would be a comparable to a freehold brookie on a square meter rate. So it definitely ticks a lot of boxes. And I think, Mark, one other thing that was a question after the staff meeting was, when's the next one? How can we get involved? When's the next opportunity? Do you want to elaborate a little further?
Well, yeah, this development's almost sold out. So there's a couple of warehouses remaining, which are really good value. People have done very well from these, traditionally buying them. And then there's some storage units as well. So basically, in a nutshell, 100 meters up the road, same developer, same type of asset, same area with all the infrastructure upgrades. That's going to be delivered for 2027. So pretty bloody exciting that people can go and do it again and replicate the magic that happened, and that it's also proved itself. So it's when something's proved itself. It's like it's an assurance or insurance that it should do that again. So it's pretty smart. So again, think about your next investment, guys and girls. Think about off the plan, guys and girls. Think about getting into areas that have had awesome infrastructure upgrades, and think about getting into areas that have low supply. So even Sydney, like I'm not a fan of your Parramatta or your Mascot or your Epping or your North Ryde, because of the amount of stock that's hit the market in those areas. That suppresses your capital growth. So buy in areas where there's low supply, please.
Definitely. And I think there will be, to this new project, there is a product that will be coming out that I don't see too often along the beaches, and obviously selling at Rodborough Road, what the people want. There is a product there that will come available that I think will be real hot. So if you've heard what we've spoken about this morning, I think this particular asset in this new build will do extremely well, and I'll be jumping in there myself to purchase. So putting my money where my mouth is on that one, guys.
That says a lot. I think when you got genuine agents buying in genuine investing, you sort of don't mind following them into that. I do hear about people saying that agents saying they're buying in projects and they actually don't, which sort of gives me the shits. But genuinely, like we've all bought in the last one and we're all buying in the next one, and it's been good. So look, product. I know we're trying to force stuff down people's throats, selling stuff with today, but it's not that. It's the fact that we're sharing. If we can share successes that people have made, then it's educational whether you do it or you don't. Do you know what I mean? So it's often, I think, people are sitting behind their televisions or behind their phones thinking, how do you do it? And there's a real life example today of how people have done it.
Exactly. Beautiful.
Thank you, Josh Wapshot.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, guys. And if you have any questions in regards to it, feel free to reach out.
Absolutely. Have a great day. See ya.
See you.